Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced a federal by-election will be held in the Alberta riding of Battle River-Crowfoot on August 18th, setting the stage for Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre's potential return to the House of Commons. The announcement this morning came less than 2 weeks after Conservative MP Damien Carrick officially stepped down from his seat. Mr. Carrick signaled his intention to resign last month so Mr. Poilievre could run in the riding, one of the safest Conservative seats in the country. But according to the House rules, Mr. Carrick needed to wait 30 days after his election was posted in the Canada Gazette before he could actually step down. For more on this, our correspondent Wyatt Sharpe reports.
Yeah, Theresa, Prime Minister Mark Carney, as you mentioned, has now officially called the by-election in the Alberta riding of Battle River-Crowfoot. Now, this riding has been in the headlines a lot ever since the election took place in April of 2025. The riding was won by the incumbent, of course, the Conservative candidate Damien Carrick. It was one of the largest victories for Conservatives across the country. Carrick won with 80+% of the vote in that campaign, and it was seen as a great victory, not just for him, but for the Conservative movement in kind of the Western and Prairie provinces. But all of a sudden on election night, when Mr. Poilievre, it was looking like he was not going to win his seat in the Ottawa riding of Carleton, everybody's head started to turn towards the seat of Damien Carrick in Battle River-Crowfoot for a couple of reasons. The first of which being, as I pointed out just a moment ago, the fact that it was one of the largest victories for Conservatives, but also the fact that that riding is in Alberta. And of course, Alberta is the home riding of Pierre Poilievre. So Mr. Poilievre is going to be running as the Conservative candidate in the upcoming by-election in Battle River-Crowfoot. And it kind of demonstrates an act of good faith, if you will, by Prime Minister Mark Carney. He had previously come out and said that he was not going to be playing any political games and that he would call the by-election as soon as possible. And, this is a good example of that, because what this means is that Mr. Poilievre will actually likely have a seat in the House of Commons, assuming he can be sworn in before September. He will likely have a seat in order to continue his duties as leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition. Of course, that is a very important point, given the fact that Mr. Poilievre, while still, being the leader of the Conservative Party even after the election, technically, because he does not have a seat in Parliament, he has been unable to fulfill the role as leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition, because that role must be fulfilled by someone sitting in the House of Commons, by a current member of Parliament. So, of course, Andrew Scheer, the former leader of that party, the House leader of the Conservative Party, he has actually been the one to fulfill the role of opposition leader in recent months. So Mr. Poilievre, obviously, likely looking forward to getting back to that position. And once Mr. Poilievre does return to the House of Commons, the Conservatives are going to have a number of different agenda items. First of all, and I would say something that perhaps they haven't been doing, as strongly as they perhaps should be, is just reflecting on what happened in that April general election. Pierre Poilievre has said in interviews, of course, that Donald Trump was the wild card and was kind of the factor that was at play there. But that perhaps suggests kind of a failure to plan. I mean, it wasn't as if the November general election was a surprise. People knew that it was a possibility that either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump was going to win. And so, Pierre Poilievre suggesting that the Conservatives winning the election in Canada was made impossible by the fact that the Conservatives won the election down south, again, shows perhaps some error in terms of strategy on their part. So certainly there's a number of different interesting components that we can watch out for, and we're going to continue to watch out for as the August by-election in Battle River-Crowfoot unfolds. Theresa, I'll send it back to you.